Hello and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, hello and welcome. I hope you stay a little while. I hope you come back and I hope you enjoy your stay while you're here. Please pull up a seat and let's make some freaking pasta, guys. Pasta is one of those things that I always thought was overly complicated than what it actually is. Now, of course, my version of making pasta isn't exactly the same as the way that a lot of people make it. Everybody's got their own technique, their own version. Some use whole eggs, some use only the egg yolks. It fully depends on what it is that you're used to and what kind of budget you have, honestly. If I was only using egg yolks, I could assume, or I would assume, that I would actually need to use more eggs than what I did here. But as we know, eggs are not exactly budget friendly these days, so we're using the whole egg here, baby. Now, a lot of the times when I'm making my from scratch videos, a lot of the root cause of me wanting to learn how to make these specific recipes is because we are looking for more budget friendly ways to feed our family whole foods and save a little bit of money. However, I am in Canada, I'm in Southern Ontario, and the cost of eggs right now, I buy about 36 eggs for $9.98 Canadian. I do understand there are other parts, especially in America right now, where eggs for that price are unheard of. So, unfortunately, this video today is not going to be a budget-friendly recipe for you, if that is the case. However, if you are feeling like elevating any one of your pasta dishes, making something from scratch really will impress your guests. Setting that aside, if you are making something like lasagna, making it from scratch will definitely make the layering process a lot easier than using those hard, crusty noodles. At the end of the day, make your own pasta because it's budget friendly, or make your own pasta because you want to be fancy. Either way, let me show you how it's done. It's actually a lot easier than you would think. And as you can see in this video, we're actually almost partway through the process. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the video, I added a few cups of flour to the table and created a well in the middle of the pile of flour, mountain of flour, hill of flour. Either way, whatever it is that you do want to call it, I created a well in the flour with the back of my measuring cup and then added the eggs. Now, I'm not telling you the exact recipe right now because it is one of those things that you can adjust. If you want just to make enough pasta for one, you can use a cup and a half of flour and one egg. If you want pasta for many, you can use more flour and more eggs. It really depends on your needs and how much you want to serve. And also what you're making. If you're making something like lasagna, you're going to need more pasta. If you're making linguine, you need less. Once you have those eggs cracked in the middle of your flour, you want to grab a fork and start whisking or beating with the fork. Once the eggs have been beaten, you want to slowly incorporate a little bit of flour at a time from the inside of the walls of flour. I enunciated that very clearly because that is very, very important for this process. So often whenever I see people trying to make pasta for the very first time, especially during my hyperfixation mode of researching before trying to make pasta on my own, I noticed that a lot of people had problems at this stage right here. Now, as you can see, the inside egg is getting nice and thick and it's not running too quickly. Now is the point that you're able to incorporate the rest of the dough or the rest of the flour from the outside of the ring. If you tried to break that wall sooner while the inside portion was still too runny, you would have it going everywhere and flying all over the counter. But once you allow the middle portion to get nice and thick so that it is not running, it's not too viscous, you can get to the point where you can start to bring in that outside ring. The way I like to do it is I just grab a bench scraper. If you don't have a bench scraper, you can use your hands or any kind of spatula, anything honestly that you have in your kitchen. I am the last person to tell you that you need to go out and buy a tool because there is always a tool in your kitchen that you most likely already have that can substitute for its job, no problem. I found this bench scraper at the dollar store one of the days that I was there doing some dollar store shopping, so I lucked out. I'm sure if you went to Dollar Tree or some sort of dollar store in your area, you'd be able to find something similar if that's something that you want to go out and get. So what I like to do is I will slowly incorporate the flour from the outside by shoveling it, kind of like folding it over the top, and then as you could have seen there, I grabbed the bench scraper and just kind of cut through just to make sure that it is all kind of incorporated as much as possible until we get to this point where I just get in there with my chunky little hands and knead it all together. Now at this point, if you're following my recipe exactly, you're going to find that it feels a little dry and you're going to be tempted to add some water or maybe even some more eggs. Don't do it. Just leave it. Just trust me. I know it feels flat, dry, and flaky, and it feels like it's not coming together, but it will. Just keep going. As always, all of my recipes I ever use will be linked in the description below, as well as my website with all recipes that I have either made videos for or have yet to do so. Please make sure you go and check it out. I am not somebody here who makes any kind of profit off any of these videos yet. I'm hoping to, fingers crossed, this year it will happen. But as of now, my income comes from the website. So if you're looking for any kind of recipes for making things from scratch, making really easy dinner ideas, anything like that, please go check out my website, sweetsavoryspice.com. So as you can see at this point, the dough is starting to come together. Of course, it's all stuck to my fingers, so I'm going to do my best to scrape all that off. And then actually at this point is when you want to go and wash your hands. You notice my hands are clean now. If you have all those crumbly still in your hands, you're never really going to get that smooth texture on your dough. So scrape as much of it off of your hands as you can, and then keep kneading until it looks like this. Wrap it in some sort of plastic wrap or saran wrap if you have an old bread bag or something that you can wrap it very tightly. See, I'm pulling every corner, not allowing any air to get into this dough. You want it to rest and stay hydrated. Now this part of the dough making you can do the day before. You want it to rest right now for at least 30 minutes. If not, make the pasta in the morning and then you can continue the process later on. Now this year for Christmas, I was very fortunate that my husband was able to get me a new KitchenAid. Thanks, honey. And also some really cool attachments. If you don't have these attachments, they are not necessary. They are fun and they are handy, absolutely. However, there are many, many ways that you can go about it if you are unable to afford or can't find these attachments. Fun fact, there was one point where I was at Value Village even, and I found one of these attachments. I'm so mad that I walked away from it because I ended up spending probably twice as much for it brand new. But hey, if you're savvy and you spend enough time in a thrift store, you can definitely find some sort of pasta roller, whether it be one that goes with your KitchenAid mixer or any other kind. I also have one that attaches to my counter and that I can roll manually. Oh, look, we get a little cameo from Vanish down there watching us roll the pasta. So at this point, you're going to have your pasta roller set at its thickest setting. You're going to put it through to flatten it out, fold it over a few times, and put it through again to flatten it out. You're not changing the thickness of the pasta roller right now. We are literally just smoothing it out. You can do this either with a hand roller, or if you're feeling really strong and old school, you can do this with a rolling pin. Just be aware that your arms better be tough, lady. So once we get it rolled through the thickness portion a few times, fold it over, it's nice and smooth. We don't have any rips, tears, lumps, or bumps going through. Now we can change the thickness one at a time, going thinner and thinner and thinner until we've reached either the thinnest possible setting or the thinnest setting desired. Personally, I've never made pasta where I wanted it any thicker than the thinnest possible setting, but maybe there's a reason for that. I'm not sure. But what you want to do is you want to go through and you want to stretch it out. Do not push it through. Do not pull it through the other side. My hands are literally there just to guide it so it doesn't get stuck up and it doesn't get folded on the counter. You definitely want to allow the pasta to do its own thing and allow the pasta roller to do what it's been built to do. And once you have it rolled out nice and thin, look how beautiful that looks. Oh my goodness. This is just, wow. I'm just noticing how absolutely filthy my shirt is. I apologize. Megan is in desperate need of an apron. If anybody has any recommendations for any great aprons out there, preferably for plus size. As you can see, I am no skinny mini. Please let me know because I've always wanted an apron. Once you have your pasta at the desired thickness, you do want to make sure that you let it dry a little bit before putting it through the cutter. Again, you can do this with a knife or if you have the pasta roller cutter. Set aside on a dry counter to dry or hang. I really hope that if it's something that you've always wanted to do, that you do try now to make your own pasta, and let me know in the comments if it worked.